So many of you have been patiently waiting to hear, and I am finally here to announce that the Gatloo Society has reopened for enrollment. If you don't know about the Gatloo Society yet, this is a special community for people who are thinking about going after the life they want and taking control of their career while they're at it. If you are hoping to launch a business or start to freelance so that you can do work that brings you more purpose, if you want to say goodbye to your fears, move past them, focus on those exciting projects that make you want to jump out of bed every day, and while you're at it, not be super concerned about how in the heck you're going to make it for your mortgage, your rent, and of course, those groceries, right? All of these things matter. What we do in order to mobilize them matters. And that is why I started the Gatloo Society, to help people like you to launch this vision. We previously opened and I shut it down to a small exclusive group of people so that we could really get our bearings and get going. And now I've opened it back up again because it's been going so well. And we have some very, very exciting developments. First of all, I have recently become a Book Yourself Solid certified trainer. I'm so excited about this. I'm a huge fan of Michael Port and the Book Yourself Solid methodology. So we are teaching all about this and how you do this for yourself and in your services-based business in the Gatloo Society. Not only that, there are now multiple membership levels available. So not only do you have the entry level, which is at a very affordable monthly fee to choose from, you can also join a very exclusive group of people who will be in tier 2 with me. So taking those trainings into consideration as you also meet with me twice a month in a group Zoom chat to talk directly about your business, your potential venture, and all of the intricacies and current challenges that you are dealing with. So there's a lot to choose from here. I wanted to make sure that you're one of the first to know detail therapy because I know there's so many of you who think about going after the life they want and making a career happen on their terms. If that is you, definitely check out all of the details over at thegatloosociety.com. That's the TheGatloo society.com. There are only a few seats left in tier 2 because I want to make sure we keep it intimate and exclusive. So jump in and find out if it's the right fit for you as soon as you can at thegatloosociety.com.
She's an award-winning YouTuber and best-selling author obsessed with helping you go after the life you want.
I like it.
Join her as she seeks out the stories and strategies.
Give me every little detail.
Of extraordinary people who found success.
I'm going to get emotional. Oh my God.
Welcome to Detail Therapy with Amy Landino.
Good morning, good life. Welcome to Detail Therapy. In this episode, we're going to get into the details about your finances. Are you taking them seriously? We're going to talk about some key steps to go from letting your financial life run you to you running toward greater wealth. I want to share some of my favorite apps that help me keep track of my budgets and financial wellness. And we got to talk about this, the biggest issue with your mindset that keeps you from achieving your financial goals. If you're new here, hello, my name is Amy Landino and I will be your host. I'm a success coach and founder of Gatloo House, a resource dedicated to helping you go after the life you want. You can see all of our work, including the show notes for this podcast, by visiting detailtherapy.online. If you're listening to this episode on the day that it comes out, it is 10/20/2020. Can you hear the Christmas trees in the shops down the street? I know. It is literally that time of year. There is no better time than right now to start talking about your finances. I mean, we're all thinking about, oh yeah, maybe we should really get that all much better in 2021, right? Oh, the holidays are coming. Oh, there's all these things. Oh, this year already sucked. So why even bother? We can't think like that. Every little bit, every little step is going to make a huge difference. So let's not waste Anytime. I like to get right into the details as soon as we can. Let's start talking about what it means to take your finances seriously. The biggest thing, no matter what you learn from today or in any other situation about building wealth, always remember this very, very, very important tip. You've got to ask for help. I know it's scary. I don't like to ask for help. I don't like to ask people for help, even if I know that they can't help me and want to help me. And so it's really difficult. And it is really even more difficult to do it when it comes to money, because we have been taught for so long that it is something that is a little bit taboo to talk about. But we have finally entered this sort of moment, I think, in our generation where it's a little bit more socially acceptable, but only as acceptable as you continue to make it. Being unafraid to have the conversation, being unafraid to say, I can always do better, and I am willing to learn from those who can teach me. Those who lead you to believe you cannot create more abundance for yourself are those who are teaching you the scarcity mindset. And we talk a lot about this mindset because it is such a huge thing to overcome. Do you think you don't know how to master a mindset? Well, don't worry. If you're convinced money is evil, or you're convinced that money is something that you can't get or you can only have so much of, you have actually mastered quite a mindset. And that is the scarcity mindset. So now knowing, oh, wow, yeah, I got pretty good at that. Maybe we could try something different. Recognize that state of mind, and also that it is possible for you to master a different thought process if you were to choose it. Maybe master a mindset that has more possibility available to you. This is what needs to happen first and foremost, being willing to ask for help, being willing to embrace a new mindset so that you can get control of your financial health and steer it in a better direction. If there's anything that changed the game for me, it was not making more money. That was just a detail, because if you make more money, that's fabulous. Oh, great. If we just made more, we wouldn't have these problems. Not necessarily. You guys all know the song, right? In all actuality, if we don't learn how to manage it properly, if we don't learn how to take care of ourselves and what to do with that money, the more money you bring in, it doesn't necessarily go back and solve those other problems. It can absolutely help if you've got a plan, but making more money did not change the game for me. Absolutely 100% every single time, the answer to this is education and allowing myself to think differently because I invited others to teach me that. So asking for help and really getting educated are so, so important. I am going to rail you on this because I know from experience that is where things started to change in my own life. Let's just be honest about this. We don't always have the people built into our lives to teach us about abundance. In fact, it might be awkward, depending on the type of friends and family that you have, for people to talk about money in a positive way, because it's just become such a custom for so many to talk about it negatively, even if behind the scenes they're doing just fine and they don't want to talk about it. They might not want you to know. And that's a different type of scarcity issue. I really, really want people to see through this, and it's okay, because those are not going to be the right people to talk to about this anyway, whether they're doing well or not. You've got to seek out those sources that truly understand what it means to harness the power of money so that you can use it like a resource, not depend on it like this thing that is going to make you happy, like this thing that's going to keep you from a depression. There's a huge distinction there. So having the right environment of people to ask for help, whether you actually know them in person or you know them because you do your research, is very, very, very big. I just wish we saw more of this in our basic education, right? Why don't we learn about balancing your checkbook, or whatever the current version of that is, in our earliest years? It's one of the most important things we will ever learn, and so many people don't. So just by listening to this podcast, this might be a really big move for you, or might be a part of your journey of educating yourself, and that is so, so big. The second really big component to taking your finances seriously is tracking everything and paying attention. If you are taking your finances seriously, you're not just letting things happen that you might forget about or you don't remember are coming up, or that money just slips away without you realizing it was even there. Sometimes that's a powerful thing if we're talking about savings. Most of the time, it's probably to do with some recurring things that you've got in your life that you forgot you do. And that's money we want to hang on to when it is not being used wisely. So when you are serious with your wealth and your finances, you're keeping track of everything. I want to give a couple of app shout outs because this is going to help you get a real deep dive real quick in becoming a newly serious finance tracker. First one I love is NerdWallet. They have been a sponsor in the past. They are not sponsoring. No one is sponsoring this episode other than yours truly to talk about finances. But I do really appreciate NerdWallet because they have so much available to them at a glance. Once you get everything set up, you're able to look at your net worth, your credit, your cash flow, and ways to optimize. So although some of those first ones I listed might not be as exciting at the beginning because you're just starting on your journey and it could look better, that is okay because there's going to be some stuff in that optimization tab that's going to help you make sure that you're doing whatever you can to take the small steps in a forward direction. So, for instance, one of my favorite things about the optimization tab is that it knows my cards because I've told it what credit cards I use so that I can look really quickly whether I'm making an online purchase decision, if it's a moment where I might be out to dinner. That doesn't happen very often, but I can look and say, okay, what card should I use right now? Because I want to make sure that I get the most bang for my buck. And I have different cards that have different cashback options. I also have points that I want to get. So if I'm at a restaurant, there might be more points than if I would have used that card on a different type of purchase. Pulling up NerdWallet allows me to have like a professional financial opinion about what card I'm going to use and getting to know those cards even better. We sign up for these cards so quickly and easily, and that is scary because we get sold on all these points and bonuses and APRs and all this fun stuff. Always knowing when the right one is to use and using that card responsibly is next level. And you need to be doing that. So NerdWallet helps me get ahead on that. I absolutely love them for that. I'm also a big fan of the N26 app. It is a banking app, so you are able to save money for different goals really easily, and it's very user-friendly. Again, a previous sponsor of Amy TV, but I have become a huge fan of N26, so much so that I've been doing some press for them as well. I've been going around the world telling everybody about N26. But the big reason why I like them is one of the things that I think we do a lot of frivolous spending on is food. Why? Because we gotta eat, right? We have to eat so many times per day and for so many different reasons and so many different things. And maybe we're bored at home in quarantine and we're making something pumpkin. I don't know. I definitely am. And I want to be able to keep track of the food spending. Well, N26 has allowed me to really easily separate a percentage that I have predetermined of my income, my take-home income. I say, this is the amount I'm saving for food. No matter how much money I made, I put that money away, and it's in N26 and it's sitting there in my food savings. So I know how much of a budget I have to spend on food. So I can take that card out when I go out to eat or order in or order groceries. I really just pull it all out of the same place. This is not always possible, although it's my favorite tactic. You're going to hear me talk about it a couple times. It's not always possible to have a completely separate entity account for every single thing, but for the big things, it's a very, very good idea. And this is just one way that I do that. I do that with N26. So definitely one to check out. And again, I love their app. It's just so user-friendly and it makes you feel like you're really growing something and it's not just an arbitrary number. You're really saving up for the different things that matter to you. And yeah, I've just become a huge fan of them. I love breaking out my N26 card when I'm about to eat some carbs, okay? The last app I will mention for great tracking is the FICO app. Yes, NerdWallet will give you a great credit update. I like to see different opinions on this, and my FICO is probably my top favorite place to go specifically for credit score updates. So if you want to see different things that are showing up on your credit, you want to know what your number is, all those fun things. We need to know what that is, even if we're not necessarily utilizing our credit all the time, because we want to really watch out for identity theft situations. It happens more than ever. We are using the computer and technology more than ever. Our identity could be stolen at a moment's notice. I literally had somebody log into my H&M account once and order a bunch of extra large men's sweatshirts and shipped them to themselves in Texas. And I was like, dude, H&M, like, why is this happening? Sometimes we don't always get that lucky to see the receipt come through and be able to stop the situation. Sometimes it's way worse, and our actual credit card or actual debit card number or an account number or something gets taken by somebody else. We have to watch that activity on our credit as well as in those accounts, because the credit score is what will definitely be held against you much longer term, as we are all probably pretty aware of, have seen credit activity in the past. We want to build positive credit so that when we need it, we can use it. So My FICO is definitely a great app. If you don't want to use it as an app, subscribing to it, it is a paid service. Just to be able to access it online is a great idea. If you're not comfortable having these types of apps on your phone, also okay. They are all usable on desktop. So check out NerdWallet, N26, and FICO. Okay, let's unpack one of those other tips that I mentioned a little bit ago, because this is a big one for me. It has helped me so much because I'm not a great numbers person to be able to break everything down really simply, to only have to do my accounting a couple times a month so that I know what the situation is all the time and all of the money is in the right place to be able to take care of myself and my family and my team and my bills and my payroll and all my things. Okay. One of the biggest things that I did when I started taking my finances seriously was breaking things out into multiple bank accounts. Like, we're talking many multiple bank accounts. Some of them you might choose to have in completely different banks. Some of them just need a little bit more ease of access for me, and so they're in the same bank, so they're in the same banking center. And 26 is a great example of me having money in a completely separate bank from some of my other accounts. But regardless, just having different accounts for different things. And I want to break down some of the examples of accounts that I have to help me be able to do all of my breaking out of revenue or any of the money that I make personally, breaking it out into percentages and then putting it into the proper accounts. So let's start from a business standpoint, because obviously that's where the majority of the money comes in my life. It starts there. It needs to go into different places before I get any personal revenue, and we got to pay some bills, including you know who, the gov, right? So let's start with that. I have a designated bank account for all revenue that comes into my business. So whenever we work with a company that is paying me to do something, or if I'm making some affiliate revenue, or if I'm really making any money whatsoever, even if Google pays me, all of that money goes into one specific bank account. It is the income for revenue bank account. So everything goes there. It starts in that spot. From there, things need to get siphoned out a little bit. So we save a certain percentage for profit. That has its own account. We have a separate account for tax withholding, because that has got to be saved and put away somewhere where no one's going to touch it. That goes into an account. And then there is one for operating expenses, because we have a certain amount of our revenue that is allocated toward those different things that we use, different tools that we use, the payroll, our light bill, like everything that has to do with business expense, it goes into its own account. This is really, really important, because you do have to do a lot of this front end stuff. When you first start a business, it feels really great to make your first check or bring in some of that revenue, but you don't get to keep all of it. You really have to manage it carefully so that you don't end up not only living paycheck to paycheck yourself, but living paycheck to paycheck as a business. Nobody wants that for sure. So that's some of the first things that happen in my financial life. After that, we have accounts that are personal. So from that percentage of business revenue that comes in, there might be a paycheck for me, or there is basically an owner's compensation that goes out to my personal checking. And then I have a pre-designated percentage of money that I save. Some for my short-term savings account, there's an account for that. Some for my long-term savings account, there's an account for that. And then some, of course, to invest. There's obviously an account for that. You see where this is going. And then we've got that food budget percentage as well. All of that comes out and goes out to its different accounts before I touch or think about spending anything. It absolutely has to. If you don't save money, if you don't pay yourself first, meaning save money in the right places for the right reasons, you're not going to be able to really have that money for very long. It might be good for a minute if you're like, I need a handbag right now. Let's just spend it all. But then you don't have money for operating expenses, or you don't have money for your own mortgage and things like that. We also have an account specifically where Vin and I pay into for all of our expenses together, like the mortgage and for our utilities and for our car payments and anything that we pay for together. There's an account for that. So I'm also having to put a percentage of the money I make into that so I can make sure that I meet my half of our union, as they would say. So having these different accounts, I know it might sound like a lot, it might seem like a lot to balance, but for those of us who are actually a lot better when we see things as they actually are, like how much money do I actually have for food, not how much money do I have so I can go buy a bunch of food. There's a specific budget for different things, and there's a specific savings percentage for certain things. It's really, really helpful to actually see them in their own account. I was very inspired by this when I read Profit First, which is an incredible book that'll teach you a lot about doing this for your business and making sure that you have the right accounts for your business. You might need more than I have, depending on the type of business that you have, or you might need less. I'm not sure. But regardless of that, it really inspired me, and I cannot believe how well this works for me. So if you've ever struggled with finances in your life, and I have, trust me, this might be one of the things that helps you to really get it, to say, hey, maybe if I have different accounts for different things, now my budget actually makes sense because I'm seeing it from a cash flow perspective. That is what I recommend. It has been major for me. I can't even, I'm not exaggerating. I have a completely different, amazing financial life because I was able to look at things differently. Like I said before, guys, it's not always about having more money. It's about having the right mindset. So what do you have in front of you that is helping that click on all cylinders for you? This is a big one. My next tip is one we hear about a lot and see a lot and actually get suggested by financial companies all the time, but we don't always listen to, and that is paperless billing and automatic payments. It's so important to make sure that during this transition from, years and years ago when all you could do was get a bill in the mail to now getting digital billing, it's important to make sure we have all of our bills in one spot. It sounds stupid, but it actually helps so many of us to make sure we don't lose track of anything. So being intentional and saying, I'm going to save a few trees, I'm going to save myself the heartache of forgetting about different bills for different reasons. I'm going to designate all of my billing to go to one email address or whatever the case may be, at least to a specific place online so you always know where they are. Such a big thing. The other thing is automatic payments. Of course, the companies want you to pay automatically because that means they get their money every time. But it actually helps us because there's no reason for us to be late in payments. It does nothing but offer us free drama that we're obsessed with. We can get free drama by watching reality television, guys. We don't need to be late on our payments, okay? And when you do that, you run the risk that it's so late that it might actually negatively affect your financial wealth. And we definitely don't want that. So automatic payments, whenever possible. I actually have one account that for whatever reason, there's no auto payment option. And I can't believe it because I have to remember that one thing every single month to make sure it gets paid. So I've got a little calendar block for it. But for the most part, we've got to have those auto payments in place and know that they're going to happen because we owe that, honey. We owe that money. So we got to pay it on time. It doesn't matter what date you choose. Just always know when it's coming. Always know you owe it. Always budget for it. So there should be no reason to not have automatic payments. You often get a lot of perks for different things when you do sign up for automatic payments. So there's definitely some stuff in store there to look forward to. Just look at all of your various debtors or creditors or whatever you want to call it and make sure that you get it signed up and see what they have to offer. But if nothing else, it's peace of mind. Did you pay that bill? Yes, you did, because it came right out of your account. The other thing to think about is automatic payments are powerful unless it's for all those recurring memberships that you have lost track of. You know what I mean. You've got Netflix, you've got Hulu, you've got different iPhone apps that charge you because you gave the free trial a shot and then forgot to turn it off. And maybe you even subscribe to a spray tan booth. I did at one point, and then I was like, the whole world is quarantined. This is a complete waste of money. I got to cancel that. Reel in all these things as you're paying attention to your accounts with your apps, being a vigilant tracker of all your finances. Find the things you don't use very often, cancel them, see if you miss them. There is no way I could cancel Netflix, okay? The Crown is coming out soon with their next season, and it's the Princess Diana season. I am waiting for that. I am also watching Emily in Paris on repeat, and it is bringing me so much life. Am I obsessed with the UK and Europe? Probably. Am I going to cancel Netflix? Absolutely not. I am not unreasonable. I'm going to pay that fee. Plus, I think my husband pays it because I'm on the family plan. Family plans for the win, right? Then you have those iPhone apps that you just didn't cancel, or those memberships that you joined because you thought it would be a good idea. And you thought, oh my gosh, like they keep sending me stuff because I keep forgetting to cancel it. I need to cancel it. Yes, you do. Let this be the moment where you go, I'm going to cancel that. I'm writing it down in my bullet journal. I'm putting it on my to-do list. I'm making time for it tomorrow. Let's do this. Pull back on those automatic expenses that you're losing track of so that you can save that money. Real quick tip, I kind of mentioned this earlier, but designate a firm percentage of your income that will go to savings. You can actually turn on auto transfer for this if you like. I have sort of a different situation because my paycheck is not the same every 2 weeks as a lot of people do with a typical salary job. If you do, then auto transfer is an amazing option. I do manual transfer because I want my percentage to stay the same, not the amount to stay the same. So I will manually transfer my savings every single time I get paid. But it's really important to do this whether it's manual or automatic. If you have an emergency and you think you can't save, this is the literal reason why you need to save. You're like, I'm living paycheck to paycheck because this just happened. I really need every dollar that I get paid next. That's probably true. Ask yourself, how much of an emergency is it? Can you live your life? Are you breathing? Are you bleeding? Any of these things. Is it possible for that to not be an emergency you have to pay for right now so that you can actually start saving your money? You should be saving every single time you get paid so that when real emergencies show up, you have money to tap into for it. You will stop living paycheck to paycheck when you take the steps you keep from doing it. You must save money if you want to start exploring abundance. My final tip for today is a whole bunch of recos because I know you love the details, and that is lots of ways to get educated about wealth. I want to share some of the books that changed the game for me. And let's start with a lady author because I love books by all different types of people, but this one was a game changer. And I think it's even more powerful because a woman wrote it, and more women need to be comfortable talking about finances with each other. Can I get an amen? Thank you. Jen Sincero, You Are a Badass at Making Money. She obviously wrote a series of books, You Are a Badass, but this particular one is the one that took the cake for me. It just made me feel even more confident than ever to be able to talk about money with other women, for us to be able to level with each other, to talk workplace equality and what are we getting paid and how do we continue to get paid more and how do we represent ourselves properly and how do we save and how do we really build wealth. I thought Jen brought such an amazing perspective. If you don't like to read, guys, audiobook all of these. It's highly, highly recommended. The next one that changed the game for me was Ramit Sethi, I Will Teach You to Be Rich. I absolutely loved his perspective. This is a very, very famous book as well. I think a lot of people appreciated it. So if you have not picked it up yet, definitely do that. If you want some business perspective, check out Profit First by Mike Michalowicz. Absolutely love this book. Again, I'm just going to say the same thing about every one, but it's because when you suddenly have this insight, when you suddenly have this financial wellness thought process, you get so excited about the people who wrote this stuff so you learn it. You get so motivated to do something about it. Jen did that for me. Ramit did that for me. And Mike Michalowicz did that for me and my business. Couple of other shout outs. Tony Robbins' book, Money Master the Game. He actually wrote like 2 versions of this book. I recommend the shorter one. Obviously, time is money, money is time. But he's got a lot of great investing insight here that a lot of investment people don't want you to know. So check that out. And Dave Ramsey's The Total Money Makeover. I just think he brought such a fresh perspective, especially if you're someone who doesn't believe in leaning on debt or credit and just understanding what it means to actually take action in that way. I let everyone make their own personal decisions of how they want to live their life in a financial way. I just want it to be wealthy for you. So Dave's books, all of them, but this one in particular, might be the perfect option for you. You must become financially literate to become successful. So master this. Let this be your morning mastery moment, maybe, to become a master in financial literacy and wealth. Read and listen to these audiobooks because it will totally shift your perspective, especially if you're on the very, very, very scarce side of the spectrum. There is a possibility for you to get better. It doesn't have to be that you change your personality completely or you change your opinions completely. We just need to do a little exploration. So read the books that are going to be directly helpful to you. Maybe these recommendations didn't strike a chord for you. I can recommend them all day long, but they might not be a fit. So find the books that are a fit for you. Is it Investing for Dummies? Is it Getting Rid of Student Loan Debt? Is it Starting a Business? Whatever the right options are for you, find them, seek them out, listen, and use them so that you can become a master. This was a lot today. I think everyone's going to be taking their finances a lot more seriously if they do just a percentage of the things that we talked about today. I would really love to hear your thoughts. Hop on over on Instagram. Let me know, what did you think of this episode? What was your biggest moment? The thing that you did first at Details Podcast. Leave a comment and let me know. Just a reminder, there are a couple more seats if you would like my help directly in a group mastermind format on growing your business in the Gatloo Society. We have tier 2, a couple seats available, and we have tier 1 available to anyone who wants to take the journey with us. thegatloosociety.com. Check it out. Join us. We are doing so much good stuff to help you grow your business. And thank you to everybody for leaving that 5-star review over on Apple. You have no idea what this does to support our work at Gatloo House, specifically this podcast. You keep me sitting in front of this microphone jammering away. And by the way, just the feedback for season 5 has been so lovely. Thank you for opening your arms to these solo episodes. We've got some good interviews coming, but I'm definitely enjoying having these more intimate chats with you. I want to give a shout out to a 5-star reviewer, Susie Rivera. Thank you so much for your 5 stars and for your thoughts. I deeply appreciate it. That's all for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate it as always. Remember, subscribe for good vibes, kiss the ones you love, and go after the life you want. I'll see you back here next Tuesday. Cheers.